But yeah, Elise and Sesko in talks with Chelsea. What are you saying, Dan? Because especially Sesko's really linked with Arsenal. Do you think Chelsea are going to pull this off?
I think this is another typical Chelsea scouting system, mate. Mudryk, everyone wants him. Go on, then we'll go there. This Sesko, Arsenal want him. He must be good. We'll go in for him. Elise's a little bit different because obviously he's been playing in the Premier League and banging. I don't know, mate, is the honest answer. There's a lot of rumours suggesting that we are looking at Sesko as our number one priority. And I'm hearing my end that he's looking at Arsenal, not Chelsea. It looks like when Chelsea are in, then it becomes a money game, doesn't it? Because Chelsea will just offer him money. Arsenal won't. So if he goes for the money, he'll go Chelsea. If he believes there's a project at Arsenal, we'll go Arsenal. So that one is really on the player, I think, Sesko. If the rumours are true that both Arsenal and Chelsea want him. As for Elise, I'm actually disappointed that Arsenal aren't in for him. I imagine Man City should be sniffing around him as well. I think he'd be brilliant for both of those clubs. I'm a big fan. And people will talk about his injury problems, but it's not actually as bad if you look into it and delve into it properly.
He's had two injuries. He's had two injuries, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a couple of injuries, and people are like, "Oh, he's an injury-prone player," but he's actually not. He looks an absolute baller, and his stats, by the way, are ridiculous in terms of what he's done when he has been fit this season. So I'm a big fan, and I think if Chelsea are interested, I think they could get him. It all depends whether the player wants to go there. I think at the moment, and yeah, it would be a strange choice at the moment. What's happening at Chelsea? I don't know. You never know what manager you're going to have within the next few months. You don't know how settled you're going to be. There's no sustainability with this ownership. It doesn't really seem like they know what they're doing. So if I was a player, I would have my question marks about going to Chelsea. But football players sometimes look at money and go there. And I honestly believe that's what the Mudryks and the Caicedos and those type players have done because that's why they've ended up there. Enzo is another one. So I don't know. They need a little bit more of a structure in place to see what happens at Chelsea first. But I look at it and think that Sesko being linked with Arsenal and Chelsea, he's obviously the one that what people are looking at the moment. I think it would be a good sign. I think Elise would be a brilliant signing for Chelsea. I think Sesko, I'm not quite sure, if I'm honest, for Arsenal or Chelsea. I need to see more. I haven't seen enough of him. And I think it'd be quite a risk, if I'm honest with yourself, for Sesko because, you know, he's got 13 goals at the back end of last season. And at one end, I'm hearing he could be a Haaland or a Zlatan. And at the other end, I'm hearing it could be an absolute flop of a signing. So I don't really know where to go with it, if I'm honest with Sesko.
What are you thinking, Potts? LB, sorry.
I'm surprised by the move, man. I can't lie. I'm a bit surprised by the move for you guys to sign in Sesko because you obviously got Havertz. Obviously, let's take it back. Yeah, you signed Jesus as a striker, and you know most City fans told Arsenal fans that he wasn't good enough for Arsenal as a striker, but you did it anyway. You then signed Havertz, who we found out really can only play in that sort of forward position because whenever he plays in the midfield, Arsenal fans moan about it. And he's actually done pretty good as a sort of striker, false nine, whatever you want to call it. And now you're going to sign Sesko. So I'm going to get a bit confused because I'm like, what does that do to Havertz? Is Havertz being dropped? Is he being moved into midfield? Is Sesko being a backup striker? Like what happens to Jesus?
Yeah,
is he going to be a winger?
Sesko will be the backup, mate. I think Havertz will start the 9.
What happens to Jesus then?
I think Jesus needs to go right wing back up to Saka or leave because he's not going to get a look in. I don't think he's played well enough, if I'm honest, to get a look in. I think he's a good squad player. If he doesn't want to be a squad player, then he moves like he did at Man City. Sesko for me is going to be the backup to Havertz, I think, until we mould him into a player that can get in front of him. Now, people like myself will say, is that the one to take us across the line? Question mark. I've no idea. He could absolutely bang. I've seen him and I think, wow, he looks like a really good talent. But I don't think he's guaranteeing you 20 goals. But then I asked the question, who is? Who is out there at the moment, other than Alexander Isak, that's going to come into Arsenal and go, goal, 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 goal? Because I don't know that Ivan Toney would, because playing for Arsenal is different to Brentford, although I do like him. I don't know that Ollie Watkins would, because playing for Arsenal is different to Villa. I don't know that Vlahovic would. I don't know that Victor Gyökeres would. I don't know that Victor Osimhen would. So if we're buying Sesko and people are going to me, what the hell's that? They've clearly got to go and get him. Well, who is him? Because Isak's not for sale, unless you've got 180 million by what Newcastle fans are saying. So do you go Gyökeres or Sesko? Do you go Osimhen or Sesko? Do you go Watkins or Tony or Sesko? I don't think there's a huge drop-off of any of those players I've just mentioned. I think all of them would be potential risks, bruv. So I think the market at the moment, you either say to Arsenal, right, you've got to go and get Sesko now, or you leave it.
So
and you go, let's wait
is
an
Sesko
impact
a
to
risk?
come. Yeah, that's what I've just said. Sesko is a huge risk like the others.
So are we basically saying that the Jesus transfer failed?
As a number 9, yeah. Yeah, definitely. As a number 9, yeah.
So what makes us think that Sesko is going to be right then?
Well, we don't, do we? But we've got to try. What do we do then? Just go, Jesus has failed, so we can't buy anyone else. We're now done.
No. I'm saying this is what I'm saying.
You got to go again, and get another
No, this
one.
is what I'm saying. I'm surprised that you're spending the money on that position, personally. And if you were going to go for that position, I would have gone for a bigger type of player, like a Vlahovic, like a Osimhen.
But I think that's why they're going for Sesko. I think the money's going to go into other areas like Zubimendi, Bruno Guimaraes. I think 45 million for a really talented young striker in 2024 is a snip.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money to you and I. But it's top strikers now go for 100+ million. Like if he was genuinely like looked at as the absolute man, he'd be 100+ million. Getting him for 45 million, it's relatively low risk for a striker.
I just think
I don't know that if Osimhen. So let me ask you this, LB: do you think if Arsenal sign Sesko, it is absolutely less of a risk than signing Osimhen for 120 million on release clause, or Vlahovic, who's been poor at Juventus, or Victor Gyökeres, who's coming over from Portugal League, or a Tony or a Watkins, who, to be fair, have been Premier League proven, but haven't done it at a top level? And we saw Watkins last night. Apparently, it was shocking. So.
Awful.
Yeah, so is that less of a risk than Sesko at 45 million pounds? I'm not sure that it is, bro.
No, because you're looking at it in price terms. People need to stop looking at stuff in price. People need to start looking at it in terms of...
Okay, don't look at it in price terms then. Look at it in quality terms. Who do you think's better than Sesko out of those players that we guarantee 25 goals at Arsenal? Give me the name.
Well, Osimhen would be better. Ollie Watkins has a proven track record.
Okay,
I think
so you'd rather spend that much. You'd rather go 120 million, huge risk, but let's just do it. And I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying trying to work out your opinion of what would you want as an Arsenal fan is what I'm asking. I should say.
My point is, Dan, you guys are not too far away from the Premier League title, and I'm like, you need another centre half, top quality centre half, because you can't rely on Gabriel and Saliba. You got to go out there, in my opinion, and get someone like a Branthwaite, someone who is capable of playing for Arsenal and deputising. Saliba playing 38 games out of 38 in the Premier League. That ain't normal. Yeah, he's not going to do that again next year. Before Arsenal fans say why not, it's the first time in Arsenal's history that's ever happened for an outfield player. Yeah, so it's not going to happen again. You need someone to be able to come into there. I also think you need another midfielder because obviously Partey looks like he's off. Can Jorginho do it consistently if Declan Rice gets injured? And who else plays in that other attacking midfield position? If Declan Rice plays in the 6 and Odegaard's playing in the attack, who plays in the other one? You don't want to see Havertz there. So I think you need another top player. Like I saw he was linked with Bruno at Newcastle, and I thought, Jesus, if they get Bruno and have Rice, Bruno, and Odegaard, that's something. So my thing is, if you get Sesko here, are you still going to be able to sign a top level midfielder, which you need, and a top level centre half, which you need? And as well, you've still got to pay this money for David Raya, according to Fabrizio, which is 25 million.
They must have the money, Arsenal. If
they've got the money, if they go and get Sesko, sign a Bruno or someone like that, someone of his quality, and sign a top level centre half, and get Sesko as well, and keep Jesus, because Jesus can maybe deputise right wing when Saka's injured. No problem. I don't particularly have a problem with it. But my problem is if they sign Sesko and they don't address the other issues in the squad.
Agree with that. Yeah.
I think 100%. More important.
No, LB, I agree with that. I've been saying it on the last few shows about Sesko. If Sesko's it's not a good summer. But if Sesko is part of, I'm going to throw names out there. They bring in Zubimendi, they bring in Sesko, they bring in, maybe another attacker like a Pedro Neto, and they sign another top centre back. If they did all that business, I think overall Arsenal have really strengthened well. I don't think goals is per se what they need. They've 2 seasons running broke their goal scoring Premier League record. Probably goals in some of those games, like the Bayern Munich game. They need someone that could score out of nothing, and they need a little bit more of that in the team. But some of that will come with maturity. I also, by the way, think Sesko's class. And Chelsea are really, a lot of sources close to Chelsea are stating there's a confidence that Chelsea might get him. There's a confidence that Chelsea will get the deal done. They feel the same about Elise as well. So the Chelsea sort of journalists are really pushing hard that Chelsea might pick up both of these players. So again, and it wouldn't be and what Ben Jacobs said earlier on today is that this Sesko deal has got a smell about it, like the Mudryk situation, which again,
that's what I just said.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
No, that's all right. I agree with that. And we were looking at Mudryk, weren't we, for ages? And then he was twerking for us on socials. And then Chelsea went, "Oh, he must be good then. Let's go for him." And it ain't worked out for him. It sounds similar to that. We don't know. I don't know how heavily linked we are with Sesko. I don't have enough ITKs to know what the favourite is of Chelsea or Arsenal going for Sesko. But in relation to what LB was saying, I don't think that signing Sesko at 45 million is going to be, oh, well, that's it then. Arsenal can't afford anyone else. 45 million. We bought Rice for 100 million, and then we still went and bought Havertz, Timber, and Raya on top of that. So I do think we've got enough to go and strengthen the squad. I agree with what LB's saying in terms of the positions. I think if Arsenal were to go and get Raya, let's say, they go and get Diamande from Sporting Lisbon, Bruno Guimaraes, and a top striker like Osimhen or Isak, I think Manchester City fans would be going, "Phew, that's good. Arsenal have done well there." But I don't think we're going to go and get those type of names. If I'm, they would become scary. But I don't think they're going to get Isak. That's for sure. I'll be surprised if we get Bruno, from what I'm hearing. So Sesko looks like the option. I don't know who the midfield option is going to be, and we link with our defender as well. So I think the positions that we're linked with.
The midfielder you're linked to. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes' one's going to be interesting. It's going to be a hard one to get done. City really want him as well. So Zubamendi's name has come up again. And again, he's a player that again, Arsenal just seems to be linked to players that I like. And my club ain't linked to them. It annoys me other than Elise. But Zubamendi, I mean, he's a good age as well, I think, is key. It's great signing young players. But when you look at someone like him, he's experienced enough at, the Liga level in terms of, play. He's 25 years old, turning 26 next year. Zubamendi, for some reason, people talk about him like he's 19, 20 years old, as in, I don't know about the experience. This is a 25, turning 26-year-old man who has got, I think he's played nearly 250 games. He's capped for Spain. I really do think you could do a lot worse than him. And reportedly, he's available for about 50 million. And I know that it's not all about money, but I think what you're getting there is a 70 or 80 million pound player for a lot less, which should then give you money to bolster elsewhere, because there isn't a bottomless pit of money at Arsenal because your sponsorship deals are within market value. So it's
where did they get them from?
We need to assess them. We need to assess them. I'm only messing, but yeah, I think you guys should look at. I really do think that you guys should take Zubamendi seriously. I think there's a real player in there.
Well, I just think it's
position. Dan, let me just quickly say, I just think it's priority of position. I think you need to position. I see someone in the chat before say, "What's he on about? Centre-back's our strongest position." Bro, you all told me that the reason you lost the league 2 years ago is because Saliba got injured. Yeah? Who's your backup? Who's your backup, Dan? One of those two gets injured. Who's playing there?
Well, this is my point. We've got Kivior, but we have no right-sided centre-back unless Ben White or Tomiyasu play there.
Right. So clearly it's not your strongest. You need cover. Have you seen how many games you could be good playing next year with Champions League? And obviously, I don't know. Well, I imagine Arteta will finally take the domestic cup seriously next year, the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. Maybe he won't because he's got bigger fish to fry, but maybe he will. And so I think he needs to sign a centre back. I think that's a crucial. Well, Timber. People are saying Timber. No one's seen him kick a ball, man. Played 50 minutes or whatever in the Community Shield, and then everyone's just been like, we don't know how he's going to be.
He balled out against you lot though.
Well, maybe he will. Maybe he'll be all right. But I think Arsenal need another centre half.
A good player, but we still need another defender on top of that. And there's rumours that Zinchenko could go. There's rumours that obviously Tilly and Savage are not going to come back into the side, so we're going to potentially lose them. So I agree with you, LB. A defender is a must. We're going to need to get a backup goalkeeper. Ramsdale's going to go. We're going to need a midfielder, at least one. And we're going to need a striker. And that's if Jesus stays to play the right wing role. Otherwise, we're going to need one of them as well. So there's still a lot of work to do at Arsenal. What I will say about Zubamendi is I don't know much about him. All I do know is that he's a deep line player. He's not one that's going to go box to box. So what Mikel Arteta needs to do is, first of all, work out where Declan Rice is going to play. Is Declan Rice going to be our Rodri or is he going to be our 8? That's what we've got to be looking at. Is he going to play in that 6 or the 8 role? And I think that a lot of people believed that he was a number 6. And then in the latter part of the season, everyone thought, wow, he's a number 8. We need to work out whether we want to go and buy a 6 or an 8 or both. Because with Partey going, we might need both. If Partey and Jorginho stay, we definitely need another 8. So that's where I'm at. And I think Zubimendi is a player that, for £50 million release clause or whatever it may be, is a player we definitely looked at. And there was a lot of rumours that we were actually going to try and agree a fee for him around the winter so that he could come in the summer. So that wouldn't surprise me if we did go back in for him. I think what Arsenal were doing is they're trying to look for that big name, I think. And I think that if we're not going to buy £100 million on a striker, we're going to go for Sesko. That £100 million could go on a name like a De Jong, like a Barella, I know he's just signed a new deal with Inter Milan, like a Bruno Guimaraes. If it's not going to be that, then maybe we spend that same amount of money on a 6 and an 8. So we get somebody like Yusuf Fofana and Zubimendi, and we cover both positions and spend that much money. So I think that's where Arteta and Edu have got to look at what they want to do. But in terms of the striker, I think I understand what LB's saying, but I honestly do not see, apart from Isak, one out there that I go, boom, go and get him. It's clear. It's obvious. Isak's the only one I can see, man.